Why is the president saying about this new variant, nobody saw it coming, nobody in the world, if that's not true?
How did you get it wrong?
How did we get it wrong? Nobody saw it coming. Nobody in the whole world. Who saw it coming?
Well, first I would say that nobody knew that there would be the number of different variants. Nobody knew exactly how transmissible they would be. We, of course, knew that there would be additional variants at some point coming. We didn't know what they would look like. But we've been preparing for a range of contingencies all along throughout this process.
Why is it that you guys are promising 500 million tests next month if you haven't even signed a contract to buy the tests?
Well, we have no concern about the contract being finalized. We're just working to finalize the contracts. We just announced this 2 days ago. But there's we don't see any issue or any halt to getting that done and to finalizing that. That's a natural part of the process. Do what we're doing for January.
But if it's so easy to get the tests, why don't people have them now? Who here decided that Americans were going to want to have access to these tests in January as opposed to now before they go home for Christmas?
Well, Peter, what we've been doing over the course of the last 4 months.
The president acknowledged yesterday that perhaps the government's response has fallen short in some regards. He said nothing's been good enough. You could argue we should have known a year ago, 6 months ago, 2 months ago. So did the administration do enough? Perhaps there was more you could have done.
Well, I think what the president was acknowledging, which he said in his speech a couple days ago as well, is that we're not where we need to be on testing. No one is saying we are.
Jumping on what Peter had said, another thing that the president said in his interview was, I wish I had thought about ordering 500 million tests 2 months ago. And I just wondered, we all knew variants.
Jen, just to follow up on that, because it is the president who said himself that he wishes that he had thought about this idea 2 months ago. And public health experts have been saying for months, including 2 months ago, that there was not enough testing supply. So why did nobody think of this, or did the president miss the mark here?
I think what I conveyed just to Alex, but I'm happy to reiterate to you, is that the president and the team did take steps to increase capacity. There have been, I think the facts here are though important. I understand what you're asking, but I've answered it a couple of times. I'm trying to give you the facts and details so you can share them with your viewers. So,
is the president not aware that there were these supply constraints? Because he's saying yesterday that he wishes he had thought of this 2 months ago. Is he not aware that there wasn't the supply at the time to purchase those 500 million?
Well, the president wouldn't have taken the steps in September and October he had taken if we weren't aware that we needed to have increased supply.
Because last year, the holidays, people were rushing to get tests, and so for them, this could be predictable just because so many people are trying to gather. And the question is, again, why wasn't there some foresight? Or for them, it seems like there might not have been foresight with meeting the demand of the holiday season.
Well, I don't think last Christmas people were rushing to get tests, because I don't think there were. Maybe there was one, I'm not sure, over-the-counter approved test last Christmas, but we are in a very different place than we were 1 year ago today. To go to, in case you all didn't see the interview the president did with ABC that aired last night, and more pieces were out this morning, the president was asked, and so everyone has the phrasing of what he said. So
the only thing standing between getting voting rights legislation passed and not getting passed is the filibuster. I support making an exception on voting rights for the filibuster.
You support a carve-out of the filibuster for voting rights. Well, I don't think we may have to go to that far, but I would. If it's the only thing standing between getting voting rights legislation passed and not getting passed is the filibuster, I support making the exception of voting rights for the filibuster. So just so everybody has the full context. The president has spoken to his view, his strong view, but he is prepared to support changes if that's the only thing standing in the way of getting this done.
Curious how the White House is going to deal with the slippery slope issue. We obviously already sidestepped the filibuster for the debt ceiling. What is the president going to say to Democrats who say if voting rights is important enough for a filibuster exception, why not gun violence? Why not climate change or immigration?
Well, he's happy to have that conversation with Democrats, and certainly we expect that to be a part of the conversations that will be had in the year ahead. The president was asked about voting rights specifically and the filibuster specifically. He said, I would just reiterate that he doesn't think we'll have to go that far, but he was very crystal clear in his answer that he supports making the exception of voting rights for the filibuster, as was the question. I think the key piece we know at this point in time, which is there aren't enough votes to change the Senate rules at this point point in time. There are different ranges of options they're discussing in terms of rule changes, and we'll see where that ends up in January.
So is the president open to also having a filibuster exception for those other Democratic priorities?
I'll let the president speak for himself. He was asked a specific question. I think he answered it pretty clearly.
Saying that there's going to be a website that people can go to starting next week. There are a lot of Obama alum that work here. Is anybody that was involved,
Don't know any of them.
Yeah. Is anybody that was involved in the creation of healthcare.gov going to be involved in the creation of this new website?
Well, I don't know all the staffing particulars about the creation of the website. What I can tell you is that we've been planning for the website to be ready when tests start to be ready. And the website will ensure tests are available equitably and that they will be obtained with ready access. That is what we're trying to do as we are finalizing the design of the website. We're obviously not going to put the website up until there are tests available.
Thank you, Jen.
Okay, thanks everyone. Merry Christmas to those who celebrate. And Happy New Year, yes. Last briefing of 2021. Don't look so sad, everyone.